Oh, we didn't do enough that I would be able to see anything, but it sounds like he's doing better. He's close, and you know, hopefully he'll be available sooner rather than later.
Concerning tomorrow night's game, he said he's hopeful that you make a decision on him tomorrow.
So that'll be totally up to the training staff and how he feels it. There's nothing to it. So I'll get their cues and go from there.
Prep for both situations?
Doesn't change much.
You got a sense for the training staff when he is available, if he'll be on a mini-sim or anything?
Yeah, it'd probably be limited just because he hasn't done anything in 4 or 5 weeks. So like, you know, as far as really going up and down in that kind of environment, you're probably looking at more shorter, you know, 4 or 5 minute stints, those types of things.
Coach, we're talking about yesterday. We were talking about John crowding Al. Are they doing that? Like, is that one of their targets, for lack of a better word, to prevent him from making plays?
I think they just do that generally with everybody. Obviously, when Al has it in the post, they're often long at the elbow, and you know, making it tough for him to get to the middle of the floor, which you know a lot of teams do. But when Giannis is standing there, it's really long at the elbow, and then you know, but they're reacting to every paint threat with great, you know, force and anticipation, and they move and they work hard, and we just have to make sure that we're patient in getting the best looks, and that patience doesn't mean you ease into it. You have to work really hard and be patient against these guys because they do a great job of covering up the paint.
You guys talked the other day about how hard it is to win 2 straight games in any series. Having a chance to respond to it.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to respond. This is part of the playoffs. This is part of being in it, and the great challenges that it presents from the psyche, right? Like you have a game where you don't play well there, and they pound you, and then you have a game where you come back here and you do a lot of great things. They were just a little bit better, and in the run they were much better. So we have to focus on what we can control. That's these 48 minutes. Nothing else matters. We're playing that to the best of our ability.
When you think of how you defended Giannis in Game 1, what changed?
We haven't changed much as far as like, I thought we've done a pretty good job of trying to keep him in front, and he's got to the foul line for it. Obviously that's tough, and we got to do a great job of meeting him early to try to keep him off balance so that he's not getting to the line, but he's going to get there some, and we got to do as good as we can at you know, building a wall to make it tough to get to where he wants to go, and at the same time getting the shooters. As I said all series, it's the appropriate amount of help is the key, and it's so easy for me to point out with slow motion film, but when it's coming at you full speed, it's a different story.
I mean, I know he's shot well from 3, but do you have to make him more of a shooter?
I mean, he's a really good player. I mean, we're not picking him up above the 3-point line, so I'm not sure what else we've done. I mean, we're gonna keep guarding at the right depth, but you know, he's hitting 5 for 10 from 3 or whatever. Once he starts hitting that 50% during the regular season and then into the playoffs for years and years, it's going to be, you know, as big of a handful as it comes. He's already, you know, one of the best in the league.
During the conversation with Kyrie, can you share the gist of what you guys were talking about?
We just wanted to spend 15 minutes talking about the objection at the Kentucky Derby and how that could possibly have happened. And so we just created a conversation as long as the objection.
Really?
And that's what we discussed in great detail.
Did you come to a different conclusion than the judges in Church?
No, I was just kidding. No, I'm not going to share what we talked about. But that was amazing to watch it.
You won the
My
first.
daughter had the initial winner in the pool, and then she had to give the money back.
You won the first game. Then you lose the next 2 games, and people are wondering what happened. Can you explain how difficult it is to win at the pro level, almost in any sport, but particularly the NBA?
Well, basketball is just a different game in and and of itself. Every game's its own entity. You can get into a rhythm as a team. You can get into a feel as a team. You try to do your best to break the rhythm of your opponent. But there's two teams playing out there. A lot is dependent on the ball going in the basket. Both teams are trying to do everything they can to meet force with force. But, ultimately, we're playing elite competition, as I said yesterday. And so winning any possession is a challenge, and you have to do your very best to stay in those moments. We can't let the 10-0 run over a minute 40 in the third quarter be a deciding factor of the game. And I thought in a lot of ways, when you go back to that game, that really was. So there's a lot that you can try to do. There's a lot that you can try to prepare for. And each game's going to be its own entity, and you can try to go in with the mindset that you're going to control what you can on every possession.
Why do you think the third quarter's been the decisive quarter in the first 3 games?
Yeah, sometimes these things are small sample sizes in these series, but we have to play better in the second and third quarter. If you look at our transition numbers, both scored and given up in the first and fourth versus second and third, it's striking. I'd say transition's a big deal. And, offensive execution leads to transition defensive issues.
Coach, what are the factors that you have to consider as a coach when you've got a guy coming back from an injury in the middle of a playoff series in terms of how you want to play him, when you would insert him in the lineup, things like that? What are the factors you think about?
You're always thinking about how it impacts your rotation, who's he going to play with, how it fits together. Does he complement the people he's going to be playing with more or not? When to play him, all those things. And at the same time, I think that obviously if Marcus becomes available, whenever he becomes available, he's a guy that can impact the game, whether it's for a couple of minutes or for a long time. So we'll certainly utilize him, and we'll be happy when we get him back.
You were getting all the
Go ahead.
you were getting all the defensive rebounds in the second half. Were they dropping back?
They were getting.
You were defensive rebounds.
We were. They usually send guys back. They'll send even their bigs back. They crushed us with their guards going to the glass, especially Connaughton in the first half. But if you look at the Milwaukee, one of the uniquenesses about them is their guards really go. Bledsoe and Hill will go from the top of the key all the time. Connaughton will always go from the opposite corner. Like, they're very, very good about doing that. Sometimes their bigs actually go back and their guards go after it.
Thank you.